All systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the SHIPIT Nation Cash Game Show for Week 10 of the NFL season. We're rolling along here. Every Friday, we roll out these shows, kind of go through, start to develop your player pool for cash games, and then you head over to SHIPITNation.com. We give you 4 cores on FanDuel, 4 cores on DraftKings, and they've been printing this season. The cash game stuff has been on point. A lot of our members, ton of success. As always on Fridays, joined by my guy, Title. Just got off that MMA show for UFC 295. I started listening in. I'm going to finish it after the show. Very exciting card for MMA. And obviously, we're here to talk some NFL cash. Title, how's it going over there?
We can't draw up a better weekend, man. Saturday, The Garden, pay-per-view season, 200K up top. You go to bed, you wake up shortly after. You got NFL in the morning. You got all the money made there. So either losing the house or getting another house after this week. We'll see which one it is, because last week was losing the house.
Hey, we take the L's here, and no excuses. We work harder, get back in that winner's circle. That's the plan. Can't win every week, can't win every slate. That's how it goes. But, man, this week is a great opportunity to get it back. I'm hoping to, tomorrow, that UFC card's big. I'm looking forward to that. I'm really excited for that one. I can't wait. Absolutely. And if you are not a member at Ship Nation, you get content to all sports, including MMA, like I said, which starts tomorrow, 6 Eastern, I believe. And, for me, it's a new sport that I picked up. Didn't really know much about it as of 2-3 years ago. And it's honestly come one of my better DFS sports, and it's simply from following the path that Title himself has created. We have Marley on board as well, a big addition to the MMA team, and it's a growing DFS sport. Hope we continue to see that growth, but man, it's become one of my favorites. I'm looking forward to that card. In terms of NFL cash, some pretty relevant news for cash games. T. Higgins essentially was listed doubtful yesterday, officially ruled out today. That's very big news for this slate for cash games. And then Nico Collins and Dameon Pierce just ruled out for Houston. So that game becomes one that I have a feeling we'll be targeting quite a bit for cash games. Let's kind of go through. We'll do what we usually do, talk quarterbacks at each position first, and then go through running backs, wide receivers, tight ends. And then, like I said, we will get all our content up usually by tomorrow night, Sunday morning for cash games. In terms of quarterback, these are our projections here, obviously, and then this is with the solver. We're partnered with the solver. So if you are a member and you don't have the solver yet, you can get access through the link on our site or below this video, and the projections come preloaded right in here on the solver. As you can see, it shows when it was last updated. We got a nice little update about 2 hours ago. Let's hop in and talk some quarterbacks. And these are our projections here, obviously, and some of the names they like, the projections like Dak Prescott, Joe Burrow, Geno Smith. And these are 3 of like the highest scoring projected teams on the slate. So it does kind of make sense in cash games. You want to get exposure to some of these higher projected scoring teams. And our projections are kind of showing that. Dak Prescott, an aggressive number on Dak, which I'm fine with, because, man, like Dallas, they're 16-point favorites, but they keep the pressure going when they get a lead. And Tony Pollard has been pretty ineffective. Not a huge supporter of Dak personally, but fantasy-wise, I like what I see. He's starting to run the ball now. Early on in the season, wasn't running it the last few games. He's taken off quite a bit. I wanted to get this number. 7, 4, 6 attempts in those last 3 games. Like, if he's going to do that, it creates a nice little floor. So fine with Dak. I think Joe Burrow is one that most people probably go to. The Bengals offense, the Bengals as a whole, as a team, kind of coming together here and looking much better. Good spot at home. And then Geno Smith also at home. They've had some difficult matchups recently, but he's only 5.8K. I like their offense. So talk to me about those top 3 guys listed here, and then anyone else that you think might be in play for cash games on DraftKings.
Yeah, DK, I just think it's Burrow. I don't think that like that $100, don't think that'll be enough on a slate like this. since he's just dropping back so much as of late. No, T. Higgins does hurt a little bit, but he still hopefully got Chase there. I mean, he's questionable. I'd be surprised if he doesn't. It was from his hard fall on his back on Monday or whenever that was that they played. I'd be surprised, especially with Higgins out. The need to keep winning. Yeah, it's Houston on the other side of the ball. CJ Stroud, like, man, they can put up some points, it seems like, too. So Bengals throwing the ball a ton, 6,800. It's way too cheap. Don't think the Dak price is enough. Geno, yeah, but on this slate, that 1,000, I feel so much more comfortable with Burrow, especially knowing he's going to be by far the most popular. So I don't think it's a position you don't get crazy with on DK. Eat the chalk and figure out the rest.
Yeah, and he's showing up well here. Anywhere you go this week and look at projections, he's going to be up there as one of the top guys, even with Higgins being ruled out. And I do think that we see Chase play this week. I mean, again, it all kind of revolved around that fall, and I think he'll be fine. Over on FanDuel, though, there's a little bit bigger, I guess, maybe of a price difference between like Burrow and then coming down to like Geno Smith at 6'9". Do you think that's enough, or just kind of lean on Burrow here?
No, okay, I think it's just one of those two, and I definitely like it's as of now. Yeah, like if I had to put the cash report up right now, it would not be either quarterback because I do think that 1,300 could be a long enough way, and Geno at home, So I want Burrow, sure, but 1,300 is enough where it's not like it is on DK for me. But I only think it's those two.
Yeah, I like Dak, I think, a little bit more, and maybe it's more tournaments. We'll see. But I still like the spot for Dallas. And you probably do get exposure to the Dallas offense through running back, I'm guessing. We'll get to that position next. So you don't maybe want to overdo it. And again, this could be more of like a tournament take. But I do like Dak this week. But it does appear Burrow, Geno, the options here.
Never thought I'd hear the words. I like Dak. Maybe Dak over Burrow. He's switching.
Yeah, it's weird. It feels weird. And you and I have been front and center for a Dak performance. We've been at a Dak game together. Thanksgiving a couple years ago. But
he's made you money as of late. That's why he's made you some cheese.
He's made us money, yeah. So we got to feel pretty good. The week I hit on him, you did as well. He's in your core, so he treated us well. Now maybe he's pulling at Hoop's heartstrings here a little bit. We'll see. But in tournaments, definitely like him. Cash, Burrow, Geno, and this 1,300 could definitely go a long way over on FanDuel. Flipping over to the running back position, like I said, the Cowboys projected to score a lot. I mean, I haven't looked, but it has to be the highest number on the slate in terms of their projected number. He's coming in at 7.8, Tony Pollard, that is. Joe Mixon gets somewhat of a bump with T. Higgins out, potential for a couple extra carries. He's at 7.7. I believe the price tag on him is much better on DK, which we'll get to in a minute. Cam Akers now out. Madison at home. Okay. Bijan Robinson, I mean, you know what you're getting. For cash games, I just don't think I can do it. Like, you just don't know the workload he's going to get. The guy looks uber talented, looks like a freak athlete, and they're rolling out freaking Algier over his ass. So I don't know what to make of that situation. Aaron Jones looked pretty good last week. 6,800 fair price tag. Don't necessarily love the matchup here. We need to see on Kenneth Walker. I believe he was a full participant at practice. If that is the case, I don't necessarily mind him. I think that's a pretty good price tag on him at 7.3K. Practice fully on Thursday. So I like Kenneth Walker. The projections don't absolutely love him here, but I think it's a pretty good spot for him. And then Rachaad White, I'm going to throw in the mix as well at 7K flat. Again, probably better over on DK, but he just gets all the work. The pass catching work is obviously more valuable over on DraftKings, but he got 20 carries last week. So he is clearly their guy. So I think there's a few options. I don't think anyone is like necessarily a must. Like if I'm putting my number one cash running back for FanDuel at this point in the week, it'd probably just be Tony Pollard. And he's got to run better at some point. Like, he's been so inefficient. Their team has been inefficient inside the red zone, specifically running the ball. It's got to turn at some point. He's just a great way to get exposure. 16-point favorite. So he'd be my number one, but I don't think there's a clear two after that.
I mean, that's what happens when you have a moron calling the plays as well, scheming you.
So dumb, man.
McCarthy,
so dumb.
Yeah, if I had to pick, it's Pollard. But, I mean, it's week 10. How many weeks can we keep saying, he's finally going to do it? By the time it's in week 17, and I'm going to be broke because of Tony Pollard. But, the thing is, all these guys grading out. So Pollard right there. Mixon great price at 7,700. He gets a bump without Higgins. His role is very good, 6-point favorites. But I usually in cash games, it doesn't matter like how many bingos are too many. But if you're going to go Chase, Burrow, there's Boyd, there's Irwin. There is a point where like I'm not playing 5 Bengals in my team. So Mixon would be one of the guys that I could leave out. Madison with no Cam Akers, yeah, that price tag is totally fine. Bijan Robinson and Aaron Jones, like I don't know. Like Bijan projects so well. And Aaron Jones is a really tough matchup. Jordan Love and the offense look awful on the road against Pitt. A brutal matchup there. But at least you know he's going to be on the field. Like I don't know what to do with him, man. Then he fumbles, and he hardly sees it again. Cost it a ton last week. I don't know. I really don't know yet what I'm going to do because he's going to grade out as one of the best plays, but his projection is so fragile because his role is so fragile because he has another moron back there in Arthur Smith. So, yeah, I don't know, man. It's tough. Devin Singletary down there with no Dameon Pierce, 5,700. I think he's in play just because who else is in that range that you'd go to? Like, you look at all those guys, there's no one in that very low 6K, high 5K range. He was awful last week, but he was at the nut low matchup last week. He still was pretty much the only running back getting work. Now against Cincy, no Nico Collins is too. Maybe they have to run the ball a little more. I like Singletary's matchup more this week. I'm good with him more this week than I was last week. But I think probably those 5. Yeah, you mentioned Kenneth Walker, Saquon. Just not sure it's a position. Like the Pollard Mixon just project too much better, I think, than the Saquon Walkers for me to get way different in cash games that way. But yeah, I think it's those 5 and then Singletary. But yeah. Arthur Smith was talking about the Algier goal line back. Yeah, he's been doing that for weeks. I mean,
how can you some of these coaches, man? I just don't. I don't get it. Like they lack common sense. It's not even like being smart or dumb. It's just like little common sense. If you watch the games, and like most of them don't have it. A fat head who's going to get Dak fat.
Yeah, who's Dak? Yeah. It makes you think who they know in this world, or who their parents knew, or how did these guys somehow land that?
It's just nuts. It's just nuts. Like just the dumbest stuff. Like just no common sense. And I mean, I guess the biggest moron, finally got hit with reality in McDaniels, but there's still like many more in the league that just are just dumb coaches and no common sense. But I don't know. We'll see. Over on DK, though, so the mix and price much better. 6.2K over there. Game probably suits DraftKings a little bit better. Definitely gets a boost without T. Higgins. That's just too cheap. He'll be very popular over there for all the right reasons. Tony Pollard at 7.3. A lot of people just be playing those two. And it makes sense for cash games. Now, who else is in play here? McCaffrey has a better tag on DK than on FanDuel, and it is certainly a week where if you want to get to McCaffrey, I think you can. There's cheap wide receivers that we're going to be able to play. There's definitely cheap tight end. There's cheap defenses, so I don't hate getting McCaffrey on DK. Rachaad White I like quite a bit at home against the Titans. I know Titans' run defense is pretty good, but he has so many different ways to get there, Rachaad White that is, so I'm in on him at 5.8. Bijan Robinson at 6K, same stories on FanDuel. Who the hell knows what the workload is going to be in tournaments? Yeah, maybe that's where you go. And then Kenneth Walker over here, 6.8. I don't love that price tag. Probably not for cash games, but I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. You just have some much better. I think Mixon, Pollard, McCaffrey, Rachaad White, some combination of those 4, whether you play 3 or 2 running backs. Like I want some combination of those guys. And what's Devin Singletary at 47? It's just too close to Rachaad White for me. I'd probably just find the money to get to White. So really, it's like 4. Najee Harris is 4,900. Do we have to consider him? Man, I guess maybe there's some options. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, I guess not. I don't know. I feel like I'd rather Singletary. I don't know. I guess that's the question because I like White. Everything you said. It's the Mixons, the Pollards. If you have C-Mac, Madison without Akers, like it's the same thing as that we touched on FanDuel. Besides Rachaad White, fits DK scoring way better. Tough matchup. Tennessee's pass funnel, but White catches a lot of passes out of the backfield too. So I'm totally fine with that. The Singletary at 47 and Najee at 49. I don't know. Najee isn't a great spot. Not a great spot, but Packers are a run funnel defense. Pittsburgh's at home. Packers can't move the ball. It's just we go back to it. Like Jalen, it's a 50-50 split pretty much. Jalen Warren we think's better. I don't really know, whereas Singletary isn't in a 50-50 split. So I don't know. Maybe
if there was a spot to consider Najee Harris for cash games like this, I think is it. He's under 5K. I mean, just $100 under 5K, but it's super cheap at home. He's looked, I don't want to say decent. He's looked competent at the position recently. Warren is obviously right there, but at 4,900, like, I don't think it would be the worst play, but it's not a building block. It's like, all right, I'm playing Mixon, Pollard, I'm going to throw in Harris, and I can just get everything else type situation if I was going to go that route.
So Najee's plus 150 to get in the box. Singletary's plus 140.
Yeah, so close.
Yeah, very close. Those two are tough. But I do think they're more in play. Like you said, you would go up to White. I think there might be, like, if I really want Chase, which we'll get there, Burrow, like, you're spending up a little bit. I think that might be enough salary where I wouldn't hate if I had a drop down from White. But yeah, it's mainly the same guys on FanDuel, plus Najee because of the price, CMC if you have the money, and then Rachaad White.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. Pretty straightforward position, I'd say, for cash gains. You know, on DK, it's definitely going to revolve around Mixon. On FanDuel, probably more, Tony Pollard type team. So, all right, let's head over to wide receiver over here on DraftKings and see what we can find. Obviously, the T. Higgins news is very important for this position with him being out. Jamar Chase gets a big bump. Tyler Boyd down here at 46 gets a bump. I think our number's a little conservative, even at 12.5 is the projection, a little conservative on him. And then Trenton Irwin wasn't getting the proper bump in our projections that will be adjusted as the weekend goes on. I put in 9, which I think is a pretty fair number on him. So I just wanted to touch on the Bengals situation. Outside of those guys, our projections are loving the Dallas passing game. And, if deciding between Lamb and Chase, assuming Chase is in, I definitely prefer Chase for cash games. Some mid-tier options that our projections like Terry McLaurin at 5'8", Marquise Brown at 5'2". Marquise gets Kyler Murray back. I don't know if that's like an upgrade or it's got to be an upgrade over the guy last week. Over Dobbs, I don't think it's necessarily an update over Dobbs, but over the dude last week. Who was it? What's the guy's name?
I'm blanking on the name too. The dude was so bad. It was forgettable.
Chase is not doubtful. So if someone put in here, he's not doubtful. Questionable. They said something like, we'll see before the game. Like, with Higgins out, I think he's going to be in there. Like, I would be pretty surprised if he were to be out. Now, if he's out, then you probably play 2 pass catchers for the Bengals, and then you might not want to play Burrow as your quarterback. So that's a situation that got to analyze as the weekend goes on, but I'm pretty certain Chase is going to play. We'll see. McLaurin, Brown in the mid-tier. Hopkins, I think you can throw into that mix at 6K. He has a pretty good connection with Levis. Tyler Lockett, I don't mind at 6'1". Smith and Jigba has been pretty good if you want to go cheap all the way down at 4'1". Tank Dell. So Nico Collins was just ruled out before we hopped on the show. I don't think we're updated. It's
not updated yet.
Not updated. So you can probably go ahead and bump. Where's our guy Tank Dell up to? He's sitting at 30. Let's say we go to 15 or something, 0.5, and see how he projects. Yeah, he'd be.
Him, Robert Woods, and Noah Brown will all get a big bump, and all 3 are in playing cash games.
Yeah, there it is. Perfect. So Woods is 4K flat. He is questionable, though. It looked like limited practice, I believe, this week. So it is a situation to monitor. But really, I mean, for cash games, you're probably playing 2 guys from this game. You're probably playing some combination of Bengals or Texans, and then you're looking for a 3rd spot. And it kind of depends on what you do at the other positions. But you're going to want exposure to the Bengals passing game for sure. I think no matter what, you're playing either Chase, Boyd, Irwin, or 2 of those guys, and then you're probably playing something on the Texans side most likely as well. Could be all 3 of your spots, honestly, on DK. If not, you have guys like McLaurin, Brown, Hopkins, Tyler Lockett, I think is a very fine play. But kind of a pretty straightforward position because of the injuries, right?
Yeah, no, I'm thinking it too. And isn't Lockett hurt? No, it sounds like he's expected to play this week. DK didn't practice today. I think he'll play, though. But it's week 10. I mean, as the NFL season goes on, more and more injury tags pop up throughout the weekend. And if teams are in playoff contention, like Jefferson, they ain't going to rush back Justin Jefferson because they ain't going to win anything. And his health is
hot. They're hot right now.
Yeah,
they're making a comeback.
Yeah. But so this will, of course, all be updated. The Nico Collins is big. It's two teams. Yeah, you said Bengals, Chase. If Chase plays, it's Chase. I mean, you're playing him. If he doesn't play, Tyler Boyd, you're definitely playing him. Trent Irwin as well. Great play. They dropped back so much. The prices are all good on these guys.
Yeah.
I like Burrow. Playing Burrow on DraftKings as of now. So pairing them, and then the Texans side, like the prices aren't counted. They're not accounting for Nico Collins being out. Tank Dell, 5,500 coming off a massive game. Woods, I mean, if he doesn't play, like Mechie would finally have to be unleashed or something. But Noah Brown at 3.7, absolute monster last week. Shout out to Tambo, got everyone on the Noah Brown. So all three of those guys, 3.7, 4K for Woods if he plays, 5.5 for Tank Dell, all great plays. So mainly Bengals and Texans. Besides that, you mentioned a couple names. The DeAndre Hopkins of the world. You mentioned Hollywood Brown with Kyler back. Think he's good. Looking at spend ups, not really sure that. Of course, Chase, we talked about. Amon-Ra St. Brown, CeeDee Lamb, maybe in double spend up builds, but that'd mainly be a 4 receiver, I think, which is definitely viable after what we just talked about at running back. We'll get to tight end position. There's some value there. So, I think Amon-Ra definitely and Lamb is definitely fine, but that would just be with Jamar Chase. But you mentioned Hollywood Brown, Deontay Johnson, DeAndre Hopkins. They're all fine, but Bengals, Texans, injury situations, that's what matters most.
Yeah, over on FanDuel, I didn't adjust who's a guy, Irwin. He is like 4.8, so let's put like 8 in here. So when we're talking, we can kind of see so him. So similar thing, like Jamar Chase is up to 9.3, but again, you probably want him, assuming he's in, good to go. Our projections are like in CeeDee Lamb, I think more than the industry at 8.9. Double spend at wide receiver, it would be those two for sure. We got Tyler Lockett at 6.8, Marquise Brown 6.6, DeAndre Hopkins 7.1. DK Metcalf 7.3, got Irwin at 4.8. Tank Dell's going to get that boost. He's sitting at 6.4 right now. So really, it's the same guys between the two sites that we're going to be looking at. Tyler Boyd's a little more expensive over here at 6.2, but I think he's still in the conversation. Definitely less appealing on FanDuel, but I would not totally rule him out. It is hard though because I probably prefer Tank Dell over him at $200 more. But long story short, it's going to be, same sort of guys on both sites.
Yeah, I'm seeing the same dudes. I mean, like Jamar Chase, his price is a little more difficult. So as of now, like I don't see how I wouldn't play him on DK right now. On FanDuel wouldn't be the craziest thing. Like that 400 from CeeDee Lamb, the 700 from Amon-Ra St. Brown. Like that could be enough if I love my teams. I want Chase, but it's not a necessary 100% priority for me right now. I'm just trying to look at the difference between both sites because, Hollywood's still a good play. Lockett's still underpriced. It's still the Irwins, the Boyds. Like Boyd is a little higher price, but I still think Boyd's perfectly fine for that price as wide receiver too when they drop back that much. And then no Nico, so the Tank Dells, all of that. So, receivers very similar on both sides.
Yeah, and then I was just looking at these team totals up top. I mean, the reason we're talking about a lot of these plays, the Bengals are sitting at 26.5. Let's see. Let me click on it so you guys see where I'm looking. Yeah, 26.5 right here for the Bengals. Come down. Seattle 25.25, and then the Cowboys 27.5. So that number definitely stands out to me. And that's why we're talking about a lot of these plays. The Lions, we talked about Amon-Ra St. Brown, 20, almost up to 26. So, team totals for NFL definitely important when you start to go through and look at cash game plays. Tight end position, it's going to be a spot to save some money this week, most likely on both sites. We just don't really have the spends. Hawkinson's up to 6.6, Laporte is 6.5. I think probably the most expensive I'd go would be Schultz in cash at 6.1, but we have some solid options. McBride, again, I don't know how much an upgrade Kyler Murray has to be an upgrade over the guy last week, or they're in really big trouble if he's not an upgrade. But 5.1 for him, I think, is fine. Evan Ingram at 5.6, game they could potentially be playing from behind, totally fine. Dalton Schultz at 6.1, and I have to mention my boy Jake Ferguson, who just continues to produce. He did it last week. I'm definitely good with him at 5.8. So for me, it's like McBride, Ingram, Schultz, or Ferguson, to be honest, is kind of where I'm looking at FanDuel tight end. What are you thinking?
Yeah, the Ferguson, I think, was more in play now, like with Schultz now with no Nico Collins. And again, this projection will be
this
updated.
Is going to get, he's going to get a boost. Yeah, that's a good call.
Yeah, so I love Ferguson in tournaments for sure, though. I just think that 300, it's either I'm getting Schultz or I'm going down, and it's going to be one of Ingram or McBride. Yeah, those three is how I'm seeing it. No strong leans. If I have the money, Schultz. If not, good saving with those two.
All right, over on DraftKings, I think a few more guys come into the conversation. Hawkinson is all the way down to 5K. It's listed as questionable, but I think he is expected to play. I still got the 12 targets last week, and Dobbs is definitely a competent quarterback, so don't hate him at 5K. Same dudes though, McBride, Ingram, Schultz is going to get boosted up higher than this too. So he's going to show really well in our projections when that next update comes through. Irv Smith all the way down at 2.7. He found the end zone last week. I think that's fine, but probably one of those 5 guys at the tight end position. Thoughts?
Yeah, no, I'm seeing it the same way. The Hawkinson, because of Dobbs, a huge upgrade than what they had to start last week. Someone earlier mentioned, like, what are your thoughts on Jonnu and Pitts? Definitely not in cash. And as far as tournaments, why mess with anybody on these freaking Falcons? Like, Jonnu's good. I mean, man, the dude catches a wide receiver screen and gets upfield and breaks it. Like, I like it, but that offense just doesn't want to throw the Arthur Smith's the worst. So you've got to lean in tournaments, but not in cash games. It's same guys on both sides.
Yeah. We usually don't spend a ton of time on defenses, but we move pretty quick through everything today. And I mean, honestly, it's kind of shaping up to be a pretty straightforward week in cash games. Yeah,
Higgins out, Nico is out. 10 game slate. What are you going to do?
Yeah. The last couple of weeks have been difficult, honestly, going through and trying to pinpoint a team. This week, just to be honest with you guys, it seems relatively straightforward. You're going to see a lot of people on the same group of guys, and it's going to be a lot of 2v2s and 3v3s. So just keep that in mind when building your teams. For defense, there's some cheap options out there. I mean, the Bengals at 2,800, I think, are a great option. The Cardinals at home against Atlanta, 2,500, probably one of those two if you want to go cheap. Never going to really prioritize defense, but the Cowboys are obviously in a good spot. 4,400 though, I just don't think I'll do that. Like, I'll save $2,000 and go to the Cardinals, essentially $1,900, whatever it is. Those two kind of stand out. Anything else, or kind of on the same page there?
Definitely this week more than anything. Whatever fits on my team, whatever I like, I will play that defense. I mean, if I hit 4,400 for the Cowboys, sure. If I have to do 2,100 Giants, I guess against would I want that? No, but it's so volatile. I mean, we see who's going to get the kick return. What's the prime time kick return?
Well, who's playing? Who's on the show? Who's on the Sunday night game? I'll tell you who's going to do it.
Or Sunday morning.
Sunday morning, Sunday night, or Monday night game. I can tell you who's going to be the one that which defense scores, because it happens every week now. It's getting beyond tilting. But I don't even know if they're on the optimal.
They weren't.
Yeah. They got chased down. So over on FanDuel, definitely more viable to spend up. Cowboys 5,200, Ravens 46.
Did FanDuel always? I thought FanDuel used to always cap it at 5.
They capped it at 5.
They move it?
They moved it up. 52. Let me just verify that this isn't an error, but I'm pretty sure.
No, I think that's
they're at 52. So it was capped at 5. So they kind of went above that, which makes sense. This is one of the better spots for defense, but more viable on FanDuel to spend up. Opposed to DK. The Bucks at 4K, I think, stand out as a fine option. Minnesota at home, Arizona 37. I mean, whatever. It's just defense. Anything here on FanDuel?
No, I mean, you mentioned a little shorter show than usual, but we always shoot it how it is. And the past couple of weeks, there's been a lot of options, so we touched on more options. This week, ain't as many options. I mean, I ain't going to talk about 5 quarterbacks on DraftKings when right now I plan on playing Joe Burrow. So that's what we say. We move on. You say it how it is. But it's if there's some weeks are definitely better in cash games than others. This is one of those weeks. You want to scale back a little bit because it's probably going to be more 1v1s, 2v2s, 3v3s. And
There'll be some trains in there, so don't get tilted if a train passes you. I mean, it's gonna be out there this week because there's just everyone's gonna be on the same path, and rightfully so. I mean, it's a pretty straightforward week for cash. This show, again, pretty straightforward. We're not going to come on here and bullshit with you and tell you, oh yeah, here are 8 quarterbacks that you can play in cash this week. Just not the case. There's not 8 running backs to consider for cash. There's like 3 or 4 wide receiver where there's, so many available guys. There's like 6, 7, 8. And then at tight end, there's like 4 or 5 guys in play. So that's the goal of the show, establish that player pool. And then you get over to SHIPITNation.com and we have the cores, 4 on FanDuel, 4 on DraftKings. Title's been doing a hell of a job with those, and our members have been reaping the rewards of those plays. So get on over to SHIPITNation.com. Hit the like, hit the subscribe on your way out. We always appreciate your support. And we'll be back next week with another edition of the Cash Game Show. Good luck to everyone in your contest. Go ahead and let's ship those cash games this week. How about that?